Be'ezrat Hashem, Na'aseh v'natzliach. I want to welcome you to another session of Torah Nuggets. This week's Parashat Bamidbar. We're asking the question is, how many times did we receive the Torah? This lesson is dedicated to the Hatzlacha of Binyamin David ben Simcha. It's very interesting if you take a look at this journey that we're on, the journey that begins every year from the holiday of Pesach all the way to Shavuot, where we count 7 weeks of the BaOmer and it culminates the 50th day with the holiday of Shavuot. The parashiot that we read tell a little bit of a telltale sign of the holiday and its purpose. A few weeks ago we read Parashat Bamidbar, which means the mountain, which hints to us that we're on the way to the mountain. We're on the way to Har Sinai. And what's going to happen once we reach the mountains? Parashat Bechokotai. That's where you're going to receive the laws, the statutes, the commandments. And over there, once you receive it, what's going to happen after Matan Torah? You're going to be in the Midbar. You're going to be in the desert. Why? Over there, there's no distraction. There's nothing to take your mind. There's no foreign ideologies. There's not a foreign influence that's going to take your mind off concentrating on what Hashem wants for us as a nation. And that's even hinted in the word Bamidbar. Bet Medaber. If you take the word Bamidbar and split it into two, Bet Medaber, two speaking. Who are the two people speaking? The two people speaking is the Jewish people and the Creator, the Jews and other Jews. That's why even the zodiac sign for this for the month of Sivan is twins. You have two Bet Medaber, two people that are talking, having a conversation with God, understanding what Hashem wants from us. And eventually we have a full review of the entire Torah of Moshe Rabbeinu in the Sefer Devarim, where Sefer Devarim begins to tell us that these are the Davar Yam, these are the words of ocean. What mean the words of ocean? The words that are as deep as the ocean. That the Torah that we're going to receive is going to be the Torah of Mashiach, which is deep like the ocean. And all this is hinted in the parashiot. Because if you take a close look at Matan Torah, we receive the Torah not just once, but several times. The first time that we received the Torah was in Vav Sivan, the famous date that is famously known as the holiday of Shavuot, and that was the time of Matan Torah, when the Jewish people stood in front of the mountain and they proclaimed Na'aseh v'nishma, that they were willing to accept the Torah and everything that's in it. And we know that Moshe Rabbeinu, after that famous event, went up to the heavens, and for 40 days and 40 nights, he was writing down the Oral Torah. He was writing down the written Torah and bringing down to Am Yisrael. He was bringing down with the Luchot. And we know that at that time, at Yud Zayin in Bet Tammuz was the sin of the golden calf. And the Torah was not fully given to the Jewish people. Yes, the opening ceremony happened, but the closing ceremony of receiving it did not happen. As a matter of fact, it got delayed. It got delayed to the point that Moshe Rabbeinu had to go back to the heavens for another 40-day period to beg and negotiate for the forgiveness of the Jewish people. And then he came down to let the Jewish people know that Hashem is willing to forgive them for the sin of the golden calf, and he's going up for another 40-day period to bring down the second set of tablets. And only 40 days after that, which was Yud B'Tishrei, famously known as Yom Kippur, Moshe Rabbeinu came down from the heavens to report that Kadosh Baruch Hu said, Salachti kedvarecha, you requested for me to forgive, and I kuyast, I forgive the Jewish people. And the second set of the Luchot was given on Yom Kippur. So what started on Shavuot eventually culminated to a finish at Yom Kippurim. The whole Matan Torah of Salachti kedvarecha, Na'aseh v'nishma started in Shavuot and ended in Yom Kippurim. But that's not the last time. That's not the only time they received the Torah. We know that the Jewish people received the Torah under duress, with a mountain over their head. Kadosh Baruch Hu kafa har kegigit, that he put the mountain over their head to receive the Torah. And we know that throughout time and throughout history, the Jewish people had a bit of an issue with the rabbis or some of the interpretations of the Torah through the Oral Torah. And only after the story of Purim, when the Jewish people kimu v'kiblu ta Torah, they accepted the written Torah, the Oral Torah, and the rabbis and their decrees. It was a Matan Torah again, where the Jewish people accepted the Torah on a much higher level. Kimu v'kiblu, as the Megillah says. So we see over here that the Jewish people received the Torah on a much higher level. The oral, the written, and the rabbi's decrees on the holiday of Purim. And this written Torah and oral Torah took us as far as the yeshiva of Rabbi Akiva and his 24,000 students. That all the learning and all the toiling of the Torah produced 24,000 students, as the Gemara says, shelo nehagu bechavod ze im ze, that they were not able to treat each other in a respectful manner. And how could that be? How could the sweet Torah that teaches us, that the Rabbi Akiva teaches, how can that Torah produce 24,000 spiritual giants that won't respect each other? And then the world was ready to receive the third Matan Torah. What is the third Matan Torah? The Torah of the Sod, the Torah of the secret, the Torah of Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, the Torah that came down on BaOmer, exactly the day when all the students of Rabbi Akiva stopped to die, and the Torah of Rabbi Shimon was revealed. And what is the Torah of Rabbi Shimon? What is the Torah of the Sod? It's the Zohar, it's the Pnimiut, it's the Hasidut, it's going to the internal, to the inside, not just the dry halacha, not just the stories, but rather the inside of the inner workings of the person's souls and the inner workings of the Jewish nation, the inner workings of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that was another time that we received Matan Torah in BaOmer. Interestingly enough, there's an additional Torah that we're going to receive, and that's Ba'atid Lavo. Ba'atid Lavo, in the future, there's going to be a whole new Torah. It's going to be the Torah of the times of Mashiach. We know that the highest level of comprehension of God's ways is reaching Sha'ar Nun Shel Bina, the 50th gate of wisdom. And Rabbi Sarah Shlita once described it so eloquently. It says, if you go to the ocean and you take a bucket and you fill that bucket with the water from the ocean, the water in the bucket is the 49th level of wisdom. That means if you toil your entire life and reach this awesome level of 49 level of Binah, that's the water in the bucket. Level 50 is the ocean. That's the difference between the Torah of the 49th level of Binah to the 50th level of Binah, and that's the time of Mashiach. The time of Mashiach, that's the Torah that's going to be revealed. As a matter of fact, as the prophet says, and I'll quote of that time period, he says, "Venatati et Torati bekirbam," I will give the Torah to be embedded in them. Ve'al libam echtavena, it'll be etched and written on their hearts. V'hayiti lahem leElohim v'hem hayu li la'am, and it will be a reality where God is going to be our God and we are going to be His nation. And then the famous pasuk, "Ve'lo yilamedu od ish et re'ehu." There will no longer be where we have to go to learn the ways of Hashem. We don't have to go to classes. We don't have to go to rabbis. We don't have to go to watch lectures in order to understand what Hashem wants from us and what Hashem is expecting from us. There'll be no more teaching one another the ways of Hashem. Lemor de'ut Hashem, as we have today, that we have rabbis and lecturers and teachers all over, and parents, and teaching their children, teaching their communities. You have to know God. This is the way of God. You have to know the ways of God. You have to know the halachot, what to do, how to bless, how to act, how to behave. No more will be that reality. Why? Ki kulam yedeu oti. Everyone is going to know God. Lemikatenam v'ad gedolam, from the young into the old. And it says by the Yeshaya Hanavi, the prophet Yeshaya says, Ki male'ah ha'aretz de'ah. The world is going to be filled with wisdom, with knowledge, with intellect. Kamaim la'yam mechasim. Just like the water covers the ocean, that's how wisdom is going to spread in the world. Like we said, the Devarim. What's Devarim? Dvar Yam. Eventually, at the end, we're going to have the Torah, that from the Torah of Mashiach, that is going to be the 50th level of wisdom. As a matter of fact, they say that Israel, Am Yisrael, 60,000 ribo. We know that there's 600,000 neshamot, 600,000 main souls of the Jewish nation that we all come from, corresponding to 600,000 letters in the Torah. But if you count, there aren't 600,000 letters in the Torah. There's only about 300,000 and change. What happened to the other 280 or 285,000 letters that are missing in the Torah? That's the letters that are going to come in the time of Mashiach. That's the Torah that is going to be taught to us in the time of Mashiach. So which Matan Torah do we have? Well, Matan Torah, the classic one that we all are working towards, is the famous one, Shavuot and Vav Sivan. But we also know that Purim was another Matan Torah, where Kimu v'Kiblu, that we accepted the Oral Torah and the written Torah and the rabbis and their decrees. And then we also know that we just received another Matan Torah, the Torah of Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, the Torah of the sword that we celebrate on BaOmer, this huge light that came into this world. And we're looking forward to the Torah that comes in the time of Mashiach. Shabbat Shalom.